What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and covering this Quinton Simon case has been crazy. Don't get me wrong, we haven't gotten really many official updates in the investigation from law enforcement, but that has not stopped the other type of updates from coming in. Of course, as we all know by now, we have protesters outside of Quinton's house from sunup to sundown and well through the night, every single day, raising hell. For the first time this week, we finally heard from Leilani, Quinton Simon's mom, and I'm not buying a single thing she says. I have all types of clips from the interview up on my channel. You could go check them out. But not only did we hear from Quinton Simon's mother, we finally heard from Quinton Simon's biological father, who has been really separated from the situation. He hadn't talked to Leilani in 6 or 7 months. I don't get the sense that he was ever a big part of Quinton's life. He doesn't even live in Savannah. He lives out of town, and we didn't hear much from him. But he finally did an interview, and I gotta say, the interview he gave, it was one of the best interviews that I've seen within a true crime case. The amount of information he just dropped, that's what I would call a bombshell. The Bubba Moss, is that his name? Quinton Simon's father. He had a bombshell interview and released all type of information about Leilani. And it turned out that not only did Leilani try to pin Quinton Simon's disappearance on him, but she had a long history of pinning her crimes on Quinton Simon's biological father. And I mean, he caught charges because of her and all type of stuff, because she would go around, break into trailers and steal coin jars, you name it. It got really weird. But during the interview that Bubba gave, he said that after Quinton Simon went missing, after his son went missing, he went by Leilani's house. And that Leilani, he said, these are his words, not mine, he said Leilani was high as a kite, and that everyone over there was on something, and that they were drunk, and they were partying and having a good time. That it looked like a celebration, as opposed to people mourning for the loss of his child. Well, just so happens that now some audio has leaked from a phone conversation that Quinton Simon's dad had with Billie Joe, Quinton Simon's grandmother. And you're all going to want to hear this. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified of all of the real updates in this case. Drop a thumbs up down below and also drop a comment. It helps in the algorithm. Also, people have been asking how can they support my channel? Well, you could do so for free by just sharing these videos. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you use, even if you don't use social media. Tell your friend to watch my channel. Also, if you want to financially support my channel and help keep the lights on over here, you could always drop a super thanks, or I will put my Cash App down below. Now, without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop right into this audio clip of Billie Joe talking to Quinton Simon's dad. Open up your ears and listen, because, that's all I'm going to say.
I feel strongly about that. I feel, honestly and truthfully, Bubba, I ain't gonna lie to you, I feel like there was an accident. I feel like something happened while Quinton was in the bathtub and he drowned, and they were both high. That's my theory.
Well, hell, they should just call the police if something like that happened.
If you're high as hell, man, you do stupid shit. Even yourself, you a different person whenever you defending her. Because I'm not defending her. You know what I mean? But I know I'm not the same person on this.
Well, there you have it, folks. Now we're starting to see how Billie Joe really feels. And this ties in perfectly with my last video. If you haven't already, Go watch the last video I uploaded before this one. Because something drastically has changed. Early on, from day 1, day 2 of Quinton Simon's disappearance, Billie Joe was in the news. She was on Facebook saying that she don't believe her daughter. That her daughter's story isn't adding up. And that she knows Leilani lies about stuff and does things wrong. She basically incriminated her daughter in a way. But now they're more of a united front, now that Quinton hasn't been found for almost a month. Here she is on this audio. I would like to know the exact day that this phone conversation happened. They say Saturday, but in the article, but I really want to know for sure. Was this a recent conversation, like a conversation that happened this week? Or was this a conversation that happened, close to when Quinton Simon went missing? But as she says, she believes that something happened to him in the bathtub. That Leilani and Danny must have been on something. They were inebriated. And that an accident, a tragic accident, must have happened with Quinton in the bathtub. Now that's really specific. Seeing as you got a pool in your backyard, right? And other things could have happened, but specifically you think something happened in the bathtub. Now I want you to keep this in mind because this is part of the narrative that they tried to spin when they were basically trying to pin this on Danny the boyfriend. Because the story that Leilani's stepson told on a live stream was that Leilani was asleep and Danny was putting the kids in the bathtub. And then Leilani woke up and Quinton was gone. So they basically tried to pin it on, Leilani didn't have nothing to do with the bath. Danny was putting the kids in the bathtub. Now, personally, I think there's a huge possibility that Danny knows something, but I don't think that I don't think for 1 second that Leilani doesn't have something to do with all of this. If not, she's just the main culprit. Because now we know from the conversation that Bubba had with the interviewers a couple of days ago that she likes pinning her crimes on whatever boyfriend she has at the moment. But also, when I think about this bathtub story, not only is it the story that they're trying to tie and pin on Danny, but also when I think about it, it's just really convenient, right? Like when you think of Quinton Simon's death, or they say he's dead, we don't really know that. We have to keep that in mind as well. Investigators believe he's deceased. I have no reason to believe otherwise. I'm going to believe them because that's what they say. But we don't know for 100% fact, I guess. And neither do they, as far as we know. But think about the whole situation. Coincidences happen all the time, right? All the time. But isn't it convenient if this was an accident? Didn't it happen at a really convenient time? When no one was home, people were out of town, and trash pickup was that day? It just seemed to be really convenient timing. Now, of course, that could be a coincidence. Coincidences happen every single day. But if I'm an investigator and I'm really looking at the situation, I can't deny that there's an angle that you can look at this to where it looks like it was almost a preconceived idea or something that was somewhat thought out, somewhat premeditated. So the accident in the bathtub, it's a huge possibility. And I will not sit here and say it isn't. But it's hella convenient that it just so happened and everything timed up and lined up perfectly for no one to be home, for trash pickup to be that day. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. And simply because there were other things that were happening that day as well. Like Leilani was getting kicked out of her house. Leilani lost her child support battle that morning. So, I mean, coincidences do happen. But there's a lot of coincidences that kind of would make anyone pause for a second and be like, wait, you sure this was an accident and something wasn't purposely done to this child? Now, some may think, well, Quinton's gone, so accident or she did it on purpose, no difference. She needs to be held accountable. Yes, but there's a difference between something accidentally happening to your child because you're an idiot that likes to get, wasted, or you purposely took your child's life yourself. I think there's a difference there. There would be a difference in the sentencing, the type of charges. So things need to be proved here, in this situation. But, I mean, I'm 50-50 on if it was an accident or purpose, like something was done on purpose. But I can't deny that there are a lot of things that would make you think that it wasn't an accident. But just the fact that Billie Joe is on this phone call, so confidently just throwing these things out there, it makes me feel some type of way. And it's really tough because I think there's a lot of frustration surrounding this case, rightfully so. And I try not to be too frustrated because I don't want to just get on these videos and just be frustrated, because that doesn't help the situation. And also, it's not fun to watch. But it's definitely a frustrating situation. And I'm frustrated that Billie Joe is out here on the news saying, we don't know anything, anything could be possible. And she's basically sending shots at YouTubers, which, I mean, there's some things people are doing that I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, I think that a lot of the discourse surrounding this case has been more respectful than some that I've seen. And I haven't seen this case spiral too far off the rails. I mean, we do have this one weird person that's like defending Betty Joe and stuff. That's really awkward. But other than that, I haven't seen this case go too far off the rails. And she's out here acting oblivious. And she's pointing the finger at everyone when she herself on this phone call was like, yeah, probably, an accident. Danny and my daughter probably was, high as a kite. And, accidents happen. You're not really yourself when you're on those things. Blah, 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 blah. Like, that's supposed to make me feel better. Or supposed to make Bubba feel better in that situation. But what do you all think about this? I have enjoyed reading you all's comments. I enjoy seeing other people's point of views or perspectives on this. All in all, I think I've said all I can say about this audio. I do think that they are going with this story, trying to tie it to Danny, trying to implicate Danny in the situation even more so, which may be true. But also, like I said, I am struggling with this accident factor. I will acknowledge, and I even told you all, I'm 50-50 on it. But there is no denying there are things pointing towards the fact that this could have been more than an accident. And I hope that law enforcement and investigators explore that avenue as well, because I'm not so happy hearing these things about law enforcement telling Leilani, oh, you must have did this, but you forgot about it because of trauma. That's stuff that supposedly the FBI is saying. It's almost like the FBI is giving Leilani a pass when you hear that they're saying things like that. You did it, Leilani. You just don't remember because of the trauma. Yeah, that's like some woke FBI nonsense that doesn't surprise me because we live in a clown world. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.